Good morning.
Good morning.
Tough news today for Washington. Governor Inslee last night came on and said there will be no school for the duration of this school year. We kind of all thought it might happen, and they made it official last night. So no school will be happening until September.
That seems crazy. And now Oregon has not made this announcement yet, although I am assuming that we're not far behind.
Considering that Washington is right there, and it's silly to think that they're going to do something and we're not going to do something. I mean, where one of them goes, the other usually goes. So yeah, so we've already planned on we're not going to be seeing school again.
Yeah, and I think this. I mean, it stinks for kids. Some kids like to go to school. They miss their teachers, and I know teachers are missing their students. And there's sports teams. You know, kids who were looking forward to trying out for high school teams, the 8th grade kids trying out for high school sports, and maybe high school kids trying to get on varsity and stuff.
They've lost their entire track and baseball season.
And probably the worst of all is the seniors. Man, senior year is the funnest year. You've got graduation, you've got senior prom, you've got all the different senior days. There's just so much fun stuff that
experience
happens.
In high school than the rest of us, Jen. I would not have missed senior prom. I would not have missed graduation.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have missed. And I was thinking to myself the other day, I actually switched schools to run cross country and track because I was in a private school that didn't have it. So my senior year, I switched so that I could try to get a scholarship to college. And if that had been today, I'd have been screwed because no track season, none. No, these kids that were being watched by colleges for baseball, for track,
football.
Well, yeah, but see, spring,
all of it, basketball.
Well, no, football. They got to play football because this is just spring. So, but those kids in baseball and track, and maybe whatever else is in spring, maybe lacrosse, that were waiting. This was their big break to get a college scholarship. Now what?
Now that's not going to, they're not just going to suddenly not give scholarships because the senior year didn't happen. They'll just base it off the scouting they've already done.
But what about those late bloomers? That kid who was, coming into his own, this was his big year, and they were kind of on the fringe as to whether they wanted him or not. They're going to wait to see how they mature. I mean, it's a big deal, man. I mean, for some of those kids. And then what about academic scholarships? I guess they just stopped. The GPA would stop right when school quit.
I assume they're doing following up with online, whatever schools can handle that. What's David doing?
I mean, by now,
it depends on the school. I know my son's doing some online stuff. The problem is some of these schools aren't able to do anything online because they said too many of their kids don't have computers.
Yeah, that's the situation with our school district. Is they told us early on, I mean, very early on, they're like, if this gets to a point where we have to call off school and do distance learning, we are not going to be capable of that. We'll do our best, but we are not going to be able to be competitive.
A friend of mine down in Canby is a school teacher, and she sent me a picture of her computer screen the other day, and she had I'd say 10 kids on there. Parents hired her and said, will you teach our kids?
Wow.
Will you keep them up? And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So basically she was sitting in front of like we're doing, but her little Zoom classroom went for kids, and she was assigning them work and having a little something online. And that was pretty cool. But not every kid has those resources. Not every parent has the money to do that, right? So
definitely not. And I was thinking about this because somebody we work with is involved with a teacher, and I don't want to say any names, but was saying that they're still drawing a check, but if school gets canceled, that's going to change. And so the distance learning, is that going to be like a reduced fee, or are they just going to give that up?
Man, as a taxpayer, I don't want my teachers going without a paycheck.
No, of course not.
No. I mean, I've got family in the school systems as well. And from what I understand, they're getting their pay. I mean, this is Oregon. They're getting their paycheck, but if they cancel school, then that changes. Then they don't draw that paycheck anymore. But yeah, as a taxpayer, where's my funding going? Like, if they're not getting their, like, obviously they go and they teach and they get their paycheck for teaching, but our tax dollars are already being taken out. Like, that's not changing. They're not changing the amount of taxes coming out of our paychecks, those of us who are working.
Yeah, but the amount of taxes going back out the door into various stimulus packages is changing. The budget's all true right now.
Well, I still didn't get this clarified if this is correct or not, but I know that at one point the president, who sometimes talks without really having the facts behind him, said that they were hoping to do 4 months of salary for those who are unemployed. So if you, like, for any of us, if we get fired tomorrow, then we would continue to get our paycheck, our full paycheck for 4 months. So I don't know if that's still true. If that's the case, yeah, it doesn't sound right. But if that's the case, then good on them. I don't know how as a country we're going to survive that, but at least for teachers, they should do that, right? Since they're hired by the state. But
and what's worse is that teachers, like, based on your union, like, you get the choice if you want to be paid for like the 8 or 9 months of school and then get like a bigger amount each month, and then in the summer you don't get a paycheck, or you can choose to get smaller paychecks every month, but then also get paid in the summer months when you're not actually teaching. And I know a lot of people opt to do that so that they don't have no income for 3 months. But like,
or they work summer jobs,
So but I mean, that's like the nitty gritty stuff, that like the adult stuff that absolutely sucks. But I wanted to touch on the stuff that's sucking for the kids. Like, they're missing their sports, they're missing their graduations. Like, kids that's the big stuff for them. Like, not very many kids. I mean, there's probably some, but most kids aren't worrying about bills or about their teacher's job. Like, that's not the things on the forefront of teenagers' minds. They're thinking about all the cool things that they're missing right now. And to them, that's like life. And that really stinks for them. And I feel for that, because I had such a fun time. I mean, high school sucked, and I also loved it at the same time. It was real weird.
Yeah, I think teenagers worry when mom or dad loses a job, though. I know my son, when I lost a job, he was probably in junior high school, and later on he told me it scared him to death, because in their mind they don't understand how it worked. So they're like, well, dad doesn't have a job, we're not going to eat. They don't know about unemployment. They don't know about these type of things. It's a stressful time for for those kids. And I think, to go back to what Jake said, there are probably a lot of kids who are like, they don't care about prom. And maybe they don't play sports. And so maybe they're like, yeah, this is freaking awesome.
Either it's freaking awesome or it's just different. There's no like particular
board.
They don't have any particular need to be at school. Maybe they're, they only have a couple friends and they're still in touch with those. And that's the reason that school was important to them. I'm sure there's a lot of, I'm sure there's, your random kids who thought prom was going to be it for them. It was going to be the high moment of their whole high school career. But that wasn't the case for all kids. For sure not.
I know over here, when they first said, okay, no school due to the COVID-19, it looked like summer. Like, you remember that week? It was really nice. And the kids were all out playing basketball. It looked like it was just summer break. And now I notice, nope, that's not happening. Like, people realize, oh, wait a minute, this is serious. And like a friend of mine was saying, she looked over in her neighbor's yard and her son was laying on a trampoline or jumping with other kids. And she was like, whoa, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Get back over here, other side of the fence. I think that really sucks, because a lot of the parents that are taking this seriously aren't allowing them to get out of the house. I've talked to parents whose kids haven't been basically out of the house in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My kids haven't been out of the house in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks or whatever week we're in, but it's not like they're.
I think this is week
school.
3.
They're young, so it doesn't. It's a different thing.
What are you doing for him, Jake, for school wise?
It's So our teachers are doing their best. The Beaverton School District is not equipped for this, but they're hacking through it their best. They post assignments each day, and then I kind of go through them with that. And then we do a reading, or not a reading, a writing assignment. I make them down. This is just something I've been doing. So the three of us sit down, my two boys and I, and we come up with a title of a story, and then we all write the same story, but in our own way.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
I love that. Will you assign it to me and Jen today?
Sure.
I want to write a story with the boys.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Jen signed up for having homework all of a sudden.
No, I suddenly just got very warm and like sort of stressed out.
Yeah. Well, Jen has a life, so just assign it to me. I got nothing else to do.
Keep in mind, it's me grading it, so I'm not going to be, I'm not going to take it easy on you.
Yeah. I'll have to really double check my spelling.
Yeah.
I would never want you to be my teacher.
McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, man. We've got a lot of comments.
Came up in the news today, and Tony was writing it into our group sheet. We have a group Google Doc that we all pay attention to. And then I watched Tony write, bingo was called by Matthew.
Pause.
15-second pause. McConaughey into the sheets. Clearly,
I was like,
the story he was reading.
Font.
I was like typing it, and I went, "Damn, Jake's gonna know how to spell McConaughey." So I went and Googled McConaughey, copied it in the wrong thing, and it was like this big.
Yeah.
And so it was Matthew McConaughey. Busted.
It was really funny.
But this kid had a lot of breaks during school, so it really takes us like 3 hours to get through everything. And it's a lot. It's not something I want to be doing for sure. Like to get done with this show, which, as we've discussed, takes quite a bit of effort to get through. And then I got to go in and be a teacher. It's not,
and chef.
Yeah. No thanks to all that.
Yeah. People have been asking me if we're doing the show, not to get off subject, live. And I said, sort of. We record it.
We're here.
And then we have to upload it to the radio station is the easiest way to say it. So we get up every morning and make sure that we didn't miss anything.
That we recorded it that day, and we assembled it that day, and we're sitting there monitoring the texts and the Facebook and all that jazz, but it's not live.
Mm-hmm.
We stare at each other.
We do. We've got a bunch of comments coming in, so I thought I'd pop some up here. Christina says we've got 3 teenagers at home and wish they could get out there. Oh man, that stinks. And also, like, teenagers, they like to go for a drive, or maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know what teenagers do
go
anymore.
For a drive.
I used to like to go for a drive.
American
and
Graffiti, Jen? Are you cruising the guts in your 57?
Well,
Chevy?
No, it makes me feel good that Jen's like 20 years younger than me, but she, at least when she was in high school, they also like to go for a drive, because I did too, Jen. I love just driving around. I thought that was the coolest thing either. My kids, 2 of the 3 of them don't even have their driver's license yet. And
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Go for a drive? No, thank you.
Oh, I loved it.
You didn't like go see a friend randomly, or like just pull up to their house and be like, let's go get a milkshake.
House. Yeah.
We literally went cruising. We literally would drag race. That's how old I am. We would literally go to the strip, and there would be cars lined up on both sides of the road, and you'd pull over and talk to the girls, and they'd be sitting on their hood, and then you'd get out on the strip, and you'd end up racing, and then the cops would show up, and it was. I didn't realize how close to Happy Days I was. I don't know. So
we weren't that much, but yeah, I went for a drive, and but I didn't we didn't have cell phones to text and say like, hey, I'm coming over. We just I would just drive around and be like, I'm going to go over to blah, blah's house, and just show up, and they were there. I'd be like, get in the car, we're going for a drive.
I never thought
we had a destination. We were headed somewhere. Like we didn't, driving was not an activity for us. We would go somewhere. Like we were like, let's go to the whatever. And then we would drive to the whatever. We didn't let's just get in the car and then get out of the car in a couple hours.
Jake, let me ask you, before COVID-19, how many times a day did your doorbell ring with kids coming over to play or wanting to see if your boys could play?
Never. I mean,
I can remember my mom having I can remember parents would put signs over the doorbell, do not ring the doorbell, because so many kids played outside that moms would get sick of hearing the doorbell ring all day. I mean, I was just like, can you imagine in today's sign for that start people like, what do you mean you're coming over?
My kids are not allowed, they're 9, Declan's 9. You're not allowed to go even walk the street by yourself.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's
sad.
I remember I had friends, like if I got grounded and I had like called them on like landline telephone, and told them like I'm grounded, I can't come hang out. Well, they would like show up at my house anyway, like at the back porch, and like in the summertime, and the screen doors open, and so they'd be like, hey, Julie, or like my dad, John, hey, can Jen come hang out? No, she's grounded. And they're like all standing there like, please, can she just come hang out? So they'd like convince my parents to unground me, and then I could go hang out. I
know. Yeah, if we'd had COVID-19 back then, we'd have been in heaven. Because we that's what we did. We all played together. We
should go knock on Dr. Fauci's door and say, hey, can America come out?
Can America come out and play?
Yeah. Like, no,
so what do you
not my decision.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jen. I keep interrupting. You want to put some of those comments up there? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Brandy, I was going to say this earlier when we were talking about not being able to have computers. I did see the story that Amazon is giving away like 8,400 laptops to kids in like the Seattle area who are having to do at-home schooling but can't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool of Amazon. I love that.
That's great, but
that's nothing. 8,000.
8,400. Woo.
Ginger says Camas School District can afford laptops for their students.
They're stupid.
Teachers. I'm assuming she meant students.
For their stupid.
For their stupid.
Ginger, you are one of us. You are one of us. Well, not Jake, but our teachers are online replying to the kids. Yeah, Camas has got some money over here. I'm not one of them. That's for sure. Living above the restaurant, but yeah, up behind me on this hill's almost $1 million home. So I'm sure they have enough laptops for the world. But
yeah. Michelle says she's sure Oregon will close. Online school starts next week. Some other states are making the same move. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the week.
No doubt.
Yeah, by the end of the week, I bet you that they'll be saying Oregon's following suit.
Yeah. Oregon.
I didn't even think about.
We were hearing. We do the COVID-19 update every couple times an hour, I think, on the radio station. The difference between what's happening in Washington versus Oregon, though, is night and day. Like, there's only been 29 deaths in the entire state of Oregon. There's been well over 300 in Washington, I think. It's strange that it's really two different little worlds when it comes to this COVID-19. So I don't know.
Well, I think Seattle is much more of an international hub. So I'm not shocked that they got hit quickest and soonest. Yeah.
It's also a lot bigger.
Yeah. Tyler says he feels bad. Same thing, prom, sports, graduation, but senior trip. Our senior trip was so fun.
But it's like one night though. Like, and I keep making the argument like, you're going to miss your senior trip. It's one night.
I know, but like,
it was fun.
We're old. We're old now. One night somewhere is like not exciting to like even us anymore. I do that on concert night. Like, I will make the last minute decision on the drive home. I don't really want to drive home. I'm just going to stay in a hotel next to the station for, it's one night. Like, it's not a big deal because we're old.
Treat every concert like it's prom. You go get a new dress. You get your hair done. Jake and I are like, which station shirt do you want to wear tonight? Yeah.
Pink.
Yeah. And we appreciate
I have more fun.
Yeah, you do. And you always look good. You look much better than Jake and
I. Someone did say that the younger kids are getting behind. It's his first year of school, and he's so off track. I could see how maybe it would be tough for like first grader.
That's a
like this is their first year of school. Like there's lots of things you're learning to move up to the next thing.
I think it's just going to make next year of school really intense because they're going to have to make up what they missed. It's not, you see, the thing is, it's not as if they go to school and then they dump some knowledge on them and then they go back to life. They have tests and stuff, and the teachers are a lot of times paid according to there's a merit based, and it's not universal, but there's a lot of like things that kids need to be able to do. And so these seniors that are missing graduation, like I assume they're just going to toss them a diploma and say, hey, you lucked out.
Yeah, but what about this? What if all the kids next year have to go year round? There's no summer break, because that would make up for the 3 months.
Who knows what they'll decide.
Man. Well, and it's so weird because like we have friends in Texas, and their school, like their high school seniors are graduating in a couple of weeks. Like they've already had their prom. Yeah. They get out in May because they go back to school at the beginning of August when we go back, or whatever. So they're already out. They're not really having to worry about a lot of this. I think this is a more of a West Coast thing because we're kind of the only side of the country, I think, that stays until June. That has like the September to June thing. So I think we're kind of getting the shaft a little bit on this, on this.
But I bet I'm betting summer will get cut short. I bet we'll be back to school sooner than just because they got to catch up. They got to find ways to get these kids their hours.
Oh, sure.
August 1st.
God, that sucks.
Well, and I'm in that. I mean, I don't know about teachers, but I'm betting teachers wouldn't mind, especially if they're going to have their pay cut now. I'm sure they wouldn't mind going back in August and starting the year because then they make up for that month of no pay, maybe.
Yeah. You're probably right.
It's a big old mess. I don't feel, not that I don't feel bad, but I am like glad I'm not in government or having to make any sort of important calls, because any call that any official person makes is just on a hate situation right now. Like nobody likes anything that's going on. Nobody agrees with anything. It's just, I wouldn't want to be anybody right now having to make decisions.
You went and bought donuts yesterday. That was a pretty big decision.
That was my second outing in 3 weeks. I had put on my Instagram, like, because my favorite donut place is called Big Wiz. They only do donut holes and they're vegan. They're literally the best donuts I've ever had. And they closed. They completely closed. Like, they're not even doing curbside or any sort of delivery. Like, they've had to completely close, which is such a bummer. Which breaks my heart. And so I posted, like, I'm so bummed there's no donut delivery. And like 1 million people from here in Salem messaged me back and were like, oh no, there's this place and this place and this place. So I took people up on their suggestions and went and grabbed some donuts.
Will you throw Jessica Decker's comment up real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I will. Class of 2020 mom, my heart's for my son who busted his butt to graduate.
So question on that, Jessica, if you're still watching. What happens? You probably know as well as anybody. So is he going to graduate? I assume he'll get his diploma, right? They're not going to make him repeat senior year. So he busted his butt. And are you sad because all the effort really amounted to nothing? Or help us out understanding that, Jessica, because I don't, I haven't paid any attention to what's happening at the upper levels of school. Can you pull people in on this?
Yes, I can add guests. Let's see if I can.
Jessica, you're probably not presentable, but nobody cares.
I can't pull her in unless I email her a link to this cast.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So she'll just need to comment back, and then I can pull the comment. Jessica says, we haven't heard anything yet.
Okay. Yeah. You got to figure there's just going to be allowances made, like the kids who are passing all at this time are just going to be passed, right?
I know we had a sweet story a couple weeks ago about the principal who drove up to the drive-through during COVID-19 to let a girl know she would be valedictorian. Did you see that? So I guess
that was
some of the schools are saying, "Oh, the school's done, tallying the votes and tallying the grade point averages, and here's your valedictorian." Mm-hmm. Surely they're going to have a ceremony for these kids when we can, right? I bet the colleges won't, but surely you got to have a high school graduation in August or something, right?
I mean,
now that's an even bigger point. Again. College, high school graduation was like awesome because I mean, for some people, that's the big moment. Like some people don't go to college; they go into trades and whatever, and people go on with life. So high school graduation is the big thing. But I went on to college. And I remember standing on the field, walking past my parents. I don't even know why I'm emotional about it right now. And I was just sobbing because college was so hard for me. And I couldn't believe I did it.
Yeah, I get it.
It sucks for these kids that they're not going to get that outward ceremonial approval. That's hard for some people.
Yeah. Well, it's a big day. I mean,
it's so clearly important to you guys. My graduation was so stupid. It was so, it was so long and
I know, but I not to talk down to you, Jake, by any means, but I don't think I'm guessing school was not as hard for you as it was me and Jen.
You're smarter than us, Jake.
No, it wasn't I wasn't a terrific student. I really wasn't.
You could hear both my parents screaming from the stands when I walked across the stage. It was like, it's a miracle. And then I got my master's degree, and here's a little secret: the master's degree is actually easier than the bachelor's. And I swear, I think my dad almost had a heart attack on that day. I mean, it was so college was so hard for me. I had to study like crazy.
And you should be super duper proud of that. And I'm very proud of my degree. It's just the day where you have to sit there and listen to everybody's middle names get said. It didn't mean anything to me to have the ceremony. I was just I would so much rather you just hand me the thing. And then I can go show it to anybody who cares, and then we get to move on with our day. I don't remember it being special.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
And I'm probably wrong because clearly Jen's crying about it, but I just don't. I don't recall it being. I don't recall it needing that little walk, the handshake from the principal, and Congressman Greg Walden, who was at our graduation and spoke at ours. I don't remember needing Greg's handshake for me to feel like I accomplished something.
I think there's just certain things we go through in life that are more meaningful than probably. I'll never forget the first big radio job I got in Miami, the first full-time major market. And I was on the phone talking to the guy, and he offered me the job, and I hung up. I was married at the time. And as soon as I hung that phone up, I cried like a baby, because I had worked. I had done so much to get that opportunity, whereas some people like Jake, they started their career in a big market, that from day one you've been here. So, it's I guess it just depends what.
And I'm proud of it. And I'm saying you there maybe too. But had they I guess if they had everybody gather in the conference room and went, "This is Tony. He's finally made it to the big market. We invited your parents. Let's clap for him." That's the part I didn't need. I guess I just felt the pride of accomplishment when I accomplished it, not because somebody in a Jostens gown handed me something.
Do you even know where your high school class ring is? I don't.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah. That seemed like a lot of gold to just throw away.
Yeah. I think it's probably worth $1 now, right? Is gold high?
I think so, yeah. Oh, yeah, gold's always high. Yeah, probably right now, even more so. You're right.
Yeah.
Mine has a big old sapphire in it, so my baby's worth quite a few dollars.
I may need to find a thing and melt it down.
Yeah.
Get some extra money right now.
Yeah, Jessica Decker is on there again saying the walk is for the parents. Never been prouder than Day, my oldest. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not really for you.
It is a
That's
super.
good
I
point.
bet
Yeah.
you it is a proud moment for parents because, like, I know for college graduation, like, I remember walking down there and I was holding my thing up and screaming, and my whole family's in the stands at Reser Stadium, like screaming, "You did it!" But like, I think my parents might have been more excited than I was in that moment. Like, just watching them stand up there and scream their faces off, like. They weren't even like that when I got married. Like, I know they were excited when I got married, but no one stood up and
Well, that would've
screamed,
been
"You
weird.
did it!"
Air horn. Brr, brr, brr. I do. Brr, brr, brr. I now pronounce you. Da, 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 da. Brr.
Well, now that I think about it, my first college graduation and my first marriage were very similar in that I ended up moving back home soon thereafter.
I'm not laughing at your misfortune. That's just funny. Oh my gosh. Sorry, one last comment. One last comment I wanted to throw up because it was really good. Oh man, it's way up here. Somebody says that Kate Brown passed something saying that teachers would get paid until the end of the year.
Good.
What's that?
Lori Pittenger.
Lori, I think Lori.
Yeah.
Lori. Oh, there it is. Regular wages. So
I hope so. I hope that's true.
I hope that's true.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Lori. That's cool. It's good.
Yeah, because obviously we appreciate our teachers a whole lot. Well, the overall consensus here is that everybody's just, bummed. Oh, wait, sorry. One more. This is a good point. They've already spent a lot of money.
I get that.
That's true. I remember having to buy that stuff like at Christmas.
Yeah.
The Jostens table was there for you to order all of your
Justin's.
goodies.
Is Justin still?
Is that like them?
Yes.
A Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Jostens is still the thing. It is
It's
still
the
the
only
thing.
company that does it.
I know
Yeah.
those guys that sold the rings made bank. I almost took a job doing that.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
Very
I
easy
mean,
market.
we bought all the stuff, right? Because there were tassels to buy, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
scarf thing, and the whole outfit, and then ring, and then the case that you get. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so much money. So much money that's already been spent. Well, people can have graduation ceremonies in their backyards or,
Yeah, sure. Figure out a way.
not as exciting. Okay, well, we just wanted to let everybody know that we're bummed for you. We are. It's just a bummer.
It is. It is a bummer.
It's a bummer. And we feel for you.
But we'll be back on here, I'm sure, talking about Oregon by the end of the week, and then we'll discuss, some more stuff, and then whatever bummer happens tomorrow, we'll be here commiserating with you.
At least the weather's good. Nice weather.
Woo! Oh,
Weather is
that's
friggin' nice right now.
Start training for a
beautiful.
5K. There you go. There's something you can put on your list.
In your treadmill in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go outside. It's scary out there. All right. Bye.
Bye.